Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the podcast, guys and gals. Now, if you've listened to me at all in the past, you know that I'm a bit of a productivity slut. Like, I really enjoy studying other people's systems. I love reading about it. I love trying to optimize my own systems. And in the pursuit of more productivity, one of the things that we tend to put a lot of emphasis on is our tools, our resources. And it can be really fun to play with the different gadgets or just different techniques, especially the softwares, because there's so many cool softwares out there that you could be using. But it can also be a bit of a time suck. It can also be a little bit of a rabbit hole we can easily fall into. And so sometimes I know I make the mistake of spending more time thinking about productivity than actually being productive. And so in the spirit of that vein, I want to share with you guys what I think are probably the best productivity tools for 2023. Now, I've used a lot of productivity tools, so I'm saying this from a position of having tried a lot of things and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't. I keep coming back to these core things. I think these are 5. So 5 productivity tools for 2023 that they're timeless. They're going to work. They just do. So number 1 is a Pomodoro timer. This is the one that I use. It's really basic. It was like $20 maybe on Amazon. But the concept of a Pomodoro timer, or the Pomodoro technique, if you're not familiar, is just, doing intervals, saying I'm going to work for a 25-minute sprint and then I'm going to take a 5-minute break, then 25 minutes on, 5-minute break. So a Pomodoro timer is just a nice little tool that easily lets you set different time increments. So on mine, it's like this hexagonal shape where I can turn it to 25 minutes. I don't have to push any buttons. I just turn it and it immediately goes to that timer. And then as soon as the buzzer goes off, I can turn it to 5. And I just find like having a nice little actual timer on my desk, not using your phone, not using your computer, because I find those anytime I have a new tab open or I have my phone, like I'm going to be tempted to pick up my phone. Like picking up your phone is a guaranteed way to get distracted. So I find having an external, just analog tool, I guess this is digital, but having like a physical tool for keeping your time. Pomodoro timer, very basic. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. So if you guys are curious about the one that I particularly use, then you can go snag that. Number 2 is Brain.fm, which I've talked about a ton on this podcast because I keep coming back to it as one of the best experiences for controlling auditory distraction. I get so easily distracted by noise. It's just one of the things that I'm particularly vulnerable to, and it might not be the case for you, but for me, I need to control what's coming in and out of my ears. And so I have noise canceling headphones whenever I'm working and I'm listening to something. And it used to be that I was listening to white noise because there was no rhythm, there's no lyrics, there's nothing for me to get locked into and start, perseverating on. And white noise worked great for a long time. And there's really no need to change from that until I found Brain.fm, which like changed the game entirely. It's just science-backed music, science-backed music designed to get you into deeper work states or deeper flow states, deeper focus states. I think it's ridiculously powerful. I think you can get it for free for like a trial. Go try it out. Like it's highly recommended. Then even like the annual plan is basically free. It's like $20 for a year or something silly like that. It's incredible. In fact, when I come out of a deep workflow, having used Brain.fm, like I almost feel a little drugged. I feel like, where have I just been? So it's a really cool experience. Highly recommended. Number 3 is a Chrome extension for your browser called Feed Eradicator. I found this earlier in 2022 and it's been absolutely killer because you hear a lot of people talk about, okay, when you're going to do your work, like your deep work now, or you don't want to get distracted by social media or whatever, that you should turn off your internet, or you can put up an app blocker or like a site blocker app where it's like, okay, during these periods of time, you can't go to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And like when you try to go there, you're going to get an error message or something that says like, you can't come here right now. You're supposed to be focusing. I personally have never found those to be super effective because I can just open up an incognito window and get around it. Like until they find a way to like keep me from like cheating the system, like I'll find a way to cheat. And so Feed Eradicator I find way more effective because what it does is it allows you to still go to those sites, but to only use those sites for the things that you want to use them for and not get distracted by the dopamine crushing thing that is the feed. So when you go to Facebook, your feed is just full of pictures and videos and things trying to pull your attention. Well, Feed Eradicator, when you go to Facebook, all the other things are still there. You still have your messages. You still have the ability to post. And from a business perspective, that can be very vital. Like I do a lot on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I got to go on those platforms. But it used to be very dangerous because whenever I'd go there to post, I'd also get sucked into other people's content. Well, Feed Eradicator just makes it so that when you go to LinkedIn or you go to Instagram, literally it's just a blank feed. It's just a blank page. And so what it does is it still gives you the ability to scratch the itch of going to the social media to see, did I get any messages or notifications or whatever you want to check on, but you're not getting pulled into the black hole of other people's content because it's just not there. And as a result, these sites actually end up being kind of boring. It's kind of weird. Like when you're only going there to check your messages and that's all there is to do, you end up spending very little time on those sites, which is the goal, to not get sucked into scrolling and trying to find the bottom of the wall. So Feed Eradicator, very, very powerful. Next one is some sort of tool for note taking. For me, I use the Remarkable 2, which I think is a fantastic resource, but it is pretty expensive for what it is. It's just digital paper. I like it a lot. It's very tactile. I like physically writing things out. It makes me feel good. Also, though, I do not, it's interesting. I used the Remarkable for 2 years and got away from using journals. But recently, in the last 2 months, I started using journals again. And there's just something timeless about actually physically writing with ink on paper and like memorializing something that's I forgot that how much I valued it. And so I think there is still just a lot of value in having old-fashioned journals and old-fashioned pens. Now, on that note, I think one of the things you can do to make it more likely that you'll use these tools is to get tools you really like. Like spend extra on the really nice journal that you're excited to write in. You get that really nice pen that you love writing with. Like when you pick it up, it feels like an extension of your body, like a weapon that you're about to go, fight the world of distractions. And I find there are very few investments that are better to make than the investments in tools that in using those tools, they make you want to use them more. Like, I don't know if that really made sense, but I found by investing in really nice pens that I wanted to use, I was much more likely to write. I found that by investing in nice journals that I wanted to write in, I was much more likely to write. So just trying to facilitate and make it easier to get over those humps. And the last productivity tool for 2023 I want to share with you guys, this is a selfless plug. It's not selfless, selfish. It's the Hyperfocus app, or the Hyperfocus Masterclass, which is part of the app experience. So if you guys aren't familiar, depending on when you're listening to this, the Hyperfocus Masterclass launches end of December. I'm recording this beginning of December, so it hasn't gone out yet, but it's almost done. We're just putting on the finishing touches of it, and then it's going to release, and it's going to be amazing. We already have about 82 people pre-signed up for it, and so as soon as it goes live, we're going to have our first cohort up and running. It's going to be awesome. But the Hyperfocus Masterclass in the app is just everything I know about productivity, about focus, about overcoming ADHD, getting out of my own way to tap into the potential that I knew I had in me when I was young, but I had just had no means for actually getting out of my own way to actually get to the greatness. So that's my selfish plug, the Hyperfocus Masterclass. Go check it out. If you have questions about it, shoot me an email, Anthony at anthonyvicino.com. You can check out the Hyperfocus class by going to beyondtheapex.com/hyperfocus. So that's beyondtheapex.com/hyperfocus. And that's going to do it for me, guys. Those are my 5 best productivity tools for 2023. We got the Pomodoro timer, we got Brain FM, Feed Eradicator, a journal, or the Remarkable 2, and the Hyperfocus Masterclass. So I hope this brought you guys some value. If it did, as always, we grow or we die based off of your word of mouth recommendations, your referrals. So if you know anybody that you think would get value out of listening to these podcasts, do me a favor, share the episode. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next episode.